Welcome back. Although we already went over our favorite Halloween TV episodes, we can't forget the best scary movies to watch this weekend, too.
I know. I have so many favorite scary movies. It's hard to pick just one.
It really is. But it's a good thing that we put together a great panel to discuss which spooky movies take the crown. Take a look.
Hey, sneak peekers! Hopefully, you've all been getting all into the Halloween spirit. To help you get more into a festive mood, we went ahead and made a panel to discuss some of our favorite scary movies. So, today we'll be speaking with some horror experts, and we'll get right into it. So, what are some of the first scary movies that you guys watched?
Alexis, would you like to go first? I can't remember. I have to think about that for a second.
Honestly, I don't know if you consider this scary, but this does go with the Halloween theme, Halloween Town, because I remember it always coming on Disney, and I would always get excited, and I don't know, I just love Debbie Reynolds, so I used to always get excited about Halloween Town. I mean, I watched every single one, and then when Ryan Evans came from, was it High School Musical, I was like, oh my gosh, no, he didn't. But anyways, I really remember watching Halloween Town for like one of my first Halloween movies, but scary movie wise, probably Nightmare on Elm Street, I would say, because I know my mom watched it when she was younger, and she showed me the older one, and she was like, yeah, I don't think you get too scared, but yeah, there were some movies I could not watch, and I still like am scared to watch to this day.
I think for me, one of the earliest like scary movies that I watched that like really got to me was the original Ghostbusters. And I don't like entirely remember why, because like watching it now, it's like, oh, it's funny, and it's like, oh, it's like the Marshmallow Man. But like as a kid, that kind of stuff like freaked me out completely, and I was probably like way too young to watch it. Otherwise, I would like to agree with Halloween Town sentiment. I think Halloween Town is the perfect starter for kids getting into Halloween and scary movies. I just watched the first one like this past week again, and so I was like, wow, like bringing back memories like a rush.
Yes, all those Disney Channel originals. So this next question might take us just a little bit longer, but if y'all had to compile a list of all of the horror classics, like the staples of what makes the genre, what are some of the entries y'all would make on that list?
Honestly,
Wow. Yeah, that's a tough one too.
No pressure.
Do you want to go like back and forth, Alexis? Like
yeah, we
each
can.
go one? Okay. I think starting off, like if you're starting like all the way back at the beginning, you could easily do something like Nosferatu from like the 20s, where you're getting like some like classic, iconic, like this is the staple for like a lot of the genre that follows. I think that would be, and it's like it still is really enjoyable to watch now, especially if you can like find one with like a really good score over it. Like it's still like really scary, even I guess almost like 100 years later.
I would say like, yeah, if we're starting from the beginning, like Dracula, for sure all the Alfred Hitchcock movies, like Psycho, Psycho, the birds and everything. One year my mom actually decorated our yard's birds theme because she's a big Alfred Hitchcock. She loves Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh,
But
that's
anyways,
wonderful.
but honestly, probably the most like horrifying movie, just because it was like based on a true story, would probably be The Exorcist. That really set off like, just being out there and different. Like that was actually a movie my mom never let me watch until maybe high school, because she was like scared that I was gonna get nightmares, because when she was younger, she got nightmares from it. But The Exorcist was probably like the one that was like historic for me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
genuinely terrifying, like even to this day.
Mhm.
I think if we keep going and like get into like slasher territory, I mean, we already mentioned it, but like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, even later on when you get like the Scream movies, I think are really great and like a really great like meta take on the genre. Um, and I think that like not only like are they like really fun to watch because like they're like picking apart like horror tropes, but they also are really scary too. I think that would fit well. Other stuff, I mean, if we're getting more into like genre bending stuff, I think like sci-fi horror, you get like John Carpenter's The Thing, which is really fun. It's like a super scary movie that has like a lot of great practical effects and like a really great like environment. Or you can get to like Alien, Ridley Scott. Like that's another really scary movie that also like dips into like the sci-fi train too. But yeah.
Yeah, if we get into like really like things that like probably change the thrillers, like just from the oh man, it's just gonna be a killer. Da, 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 da. No,
Uh-huh.
The Silence of the Lambs, probably like that was a game changer. Um, what else? Silence of the Lambs, The Shining. The Shining is really
Mhm.
good, and honestly, the new It, like I still get kind of scared from it. I just genuinely don't like clowns, so it still kind of bothers me. But anyways,
Mhm.
yeah, I would say those kind of set off the horror thriller.
Yeah, good Stephen King representation right there at the end. Okay. So we've kind of touched. Oh, sorry. Don't mean to cut you
No,
off.
sorry,
Go.
you're totally
Right.
good. I was gonna
No.
add a couple like newer ones now. Like I think even now, like I think we're in a little bit of like a horror renaissance when you have stuff like The Witch or The Lighthouse or like Get Out and Us. If you have like It Comes at Night or even like the Conjuring stuff, I think
Mm-hmm.
like we have a lot of really great like new wave of almost like a lot like smarter horror, especially compared to like a lot of the gory stuff that we saw in like the 2000s. So I think like even now the genre is still like trying out new things and like doing it in a lot of new ways too.
Oh yeah, since you just said that, like Get Out. Oh my gosh, Get Out was
Mhm.
that was a masterpiece.
So to kind of start wrapping us up, just going off of what you've kind of been asking before, do you have any favorite sub genres within horror? Do you have favorite witch films, favorite alien movies, favorite gore fest, little special sub genre?
Mm-hmm. That's another hard one. I think what we
Yeah.
always keep returning to is like easily slasher. But I especially like a lot of the meta slasher ones, like we've been talking about, like some of the Nightmare sequels and like Scream, or even something like I'm trying to remember what it was called. It came out a couple years ago. I think it's called Final Girl, but it does the same stuff
Yes.
of like takes a lot of, like the slasher iconography and like kind of turns it on its head. And that's
Mm-hmm.
always something I like because I feel like slasher is like very like cemented as like a Halloween or even like specifically like a horror classic genre. So yes. Beyond that, I like a lot of like the sci-fi horror stuff because I think there's like a lot of really fun stuff you can do there. Um, but I don't know. There's a lot of the sub genres.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big suspense girl, if that counts for like more of a subgenre. I don't know, it's more
Mhm.
of its own genre. But anyways, suspense. Yeah, I'm a big suspense person. I like being put on my toes and stuff. And like, oh my gosh, what's
Mhm.
gonna happen?
Well, thank you both so much for giving us all these great recommendations. I hope that all you sneak peekers out there can watch as many of these as possible to get into the Halloween spirit. But I think that's all for our panel. Thank you both again so much. Back to the hosts.